how do people survive the high cost of living? I was having a conversation recently with an Uber driver. Akaniambia Kenyans are the most resilient people he has ever seen. Leo kuna fuel shortage, kuna increase of products. Napiga kelele 20 minutes, we're like, let's go on, let's just move on. Unaendelea in the grind. Kesho unaambiwa mambo ingine, unaendelea tu in the grind. Yani up to the last minute, which is a really good thing. But now we want to stay afloat in a way that we're not suffering. And it's the conversation I'm having here this morning with our resident money coach, Miss Elizabeth Waithaka. And let me introduce her to the show. I think we had her last month speaking about savings and also budgeting. So come only miss any of those conversations, ukiingia KUTV on YouTube, you'll find her there, some of those nudges of wisdom that she's been providing to us. But now, let's get into that conversation. Remember, you are also supposed to be telling me how you've been keeping up with the high cost of living, what strategies are you employing, and what can we learn from you? Or what do you want to learn? What do you want to know? Send those questions and feedback all over social media platforms. Welcome to the set once more.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'll allow you to introduce yourself and then we can get into it.
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth. I'm actually very honored to be here. I am a money coach, a personal finance advisor. I help you with your savings planning, retirement planning, planning for your children's education, especially at such a time when the cost of living keeps going high. I'm also an author in the area of money and entrepreneurship. You can always follow me online, as I'll give the link towards the end.
All right.
Yeah.
Miss Elizabeth, how are you keeping up with the high cost of living?
You know, it affects all of us actually.
Yeah.
Across the board, from fuel shortages to rising prices, cooking oil, milk has gone up. You know, the cost of living just continues going up and down, up and up again. The rate of inflation keeps rising. Yeah. You know, and it is biting all of us.
Yeah, it doesn't spare anyone.
Myself included, and everybody else.
Right.
But just like you said, that Kenyans, we are resilient. We actually are resilient.
Right.
Yeah.
We are keeping up well. And
yes,
you're also resilient in that regard. Do you have strategies that you've been using yourself?
It has not been easy, but the need to adjust my style, my spending, my approach to money, what I've been spending on, my savings has also been challenged.
You're also your own money coach in that regard.
Definitely, money affects all of us, me included.
Okay. Yeah. So how can then, in these unprecedented times, should we be worried? First of all, should we be worried about the high cost of living, or should we expect that maybe sometime itakuwa sawa?
Actually, these are times that can be overwhelming. There could be a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry. You don't know how tomorrow will be, and you don't know how we are going to survive. The salary that maybe, or the income that you are able to survive with, at some point, it is not enough because the costs are just rising and rising. But it is good for people to understand that you are not alone in this. We are all in it, and it is good to reduce that worry and just to focus on improving your personal finance situation. If you focus on your personal financial situation, especially at a time like this, you may find out that the problem is not as big after all. It is something that can be managed. It is not as bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens now if I feel anxious and I'm panicking because of the cost of living? What do you recommend that someone does?
Many times, for example, it is the news that are streaming in that causes us anxiety. When you see this cost is rising, this is happening, this is not happening, there is no fuel, and you see a lot of queues, you know, you are likely to feel anxious. So the best thing is, first of all, to switch off. You can, if you feel it is getting overwhelming, it is good even to switch off those news and just concentrate on yourself, concentrate on your thoughts, concentrate on putting your personal finances in order, instead of concentrating on the worry that is happening to everybody on the economy. Just concentrate on yourself as a person.
Sometimes you hear that, oh, the price of fuel is going up, or the price of cereals, or the price of that, and maybe some of those products you're not going to use them. It's not as bad as you think for your case. You're not alone, but also maybe it's not as big as you think, right?
Actually, it is the word that we spread around that causes fear. It is not the situation in itself. If you're able to concentrate on yourself, the problem is not as bad. And it's affecting everybody. So we've got a way of surviving, all of us. Yeah.
Right. Are there some helpful tips now that we can use to have some financial resolve during these times?
Definitely, and those tips are very, very important. We always run from the situation, we run from one another, but there are some very helpful tips, and maybe I should go one by one.
Definitely, that's I'm taking notes as well.
Thank you. First of all, as we are doing shopping, whether we are doing shopping for the kadogo, as per the need, or we are shopping in bulk. Maybe there are those of us who like shopping maybe for a month. It is good to avoid shopping stressed. Like, don't go for shopping when you're stressed. Yeah. Aim at just shopping smart. Compare your prices. Know what it is that you need exactly. Don't just go to the supermarket and pick things the way you are used to. It is good to shop smart rather than driven by the anxiety. And even as you are going for that shopping, have a shopping list.
Right.
Yeah. Prepare before, so that you are not caught up in that rut of shopping for things. You just see them, and because there is anxiety, there is fear. You see this, you think, oh yeah, I need this one. Take that one.
There might be a shortage on that one. Let me just go and...
Definitely. So, being a smart shopper, having a shopping list that is prepared, it is very, very important. It is good also to recognize your emotions. There are those emotions that drive us to spend. Like when we talk about fear, anxiety, those are emotions. The feeling of inadequacy. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. You don't know what will not be there tomorrow.
Don't know if you will afford it tomorrow.
Definitely. Yeah. Or even if the money that you have, because we always feel it is never enough, and that is the case for money. Money is always a limited resource. So it can drive you into buying even things that you may not need.
Okay.
Yeah.
So recognize your emotions.
Recognize your emotions.
And there is a situation where people find themselves in these supermarkets. As I said, anangalia anasema, price of bread is going up next week. Let me buy 24 of them and then go put them in the house so that next week I don't have to purchase it at that high of a price. Is that something you caution against?
Yeah, actually that is something that COVID taught us. When there was the fear of lockdown, people really shopped. You could go to the stores, to the supermarkets, and the queues are just so long because people do not know whether tomorrow there will be that. So that wanting to hoard, that wanting to keep for tomorrow, it is something that COVID taught us, but it is something that we need to be aware of, so that you are not just buying with the fear of tomorrow. Just buy what is enough. You may end up buying what you don't even need, and then putting your situation even worse.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just hoarding and accumulating stuff that you might not even need.
Driven by fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in that situation, of course, these are people who are reacting to an emergency situation. So how best will they have prepared themselves for such cases? Next week, labda, prices will go up. The other week, the shilling will weaken. Those are like maybe small situations that they're not prepared for. How can they prepare for such situations?
It is important, for example, to have an emergency plan. And sometimes when we talk about emergency plan, people feel like it is something that is out there. It is not. It is something that you can do just within your situation. Just know that I've got this retro cash put somewhere. And I always say that an emergency plan can be put maybe in the money market or wherever. It makes you feel comfortable that at least this one is taken care of, and the anxiety reduces. The other thing is to keep to tabs with your debt repayments. These things, the cost of living is rising, even when we have our small loans that we are paying or huge loans.
Yeah.
And the temptation to not to pay your loan because you are meeting your needs, it's very, very high. And that one is likely to push you down even further. So the best thing, you better even renegotiate with the financiers, restructure your loans. You could just extend them for a longer period, reduce the repayments so that you're able to cope. But whatever it is that you do, keep up with your loans repayments. As much as you be paying retro, just keep up with it.
So debt repayment,
Yeah.
before maybe we move from debt repayment, I'm guessing also this is around the time when the cost of living is going high. The debtors are also experiencing the high cost of living. They need their money too. So it's important that you negotiate with them as well to understand the situation. Yeah.
You know, the loan repayments, and sometimes we always have a small loan here and there, or a huge loan. They do not stop because the cost of living is rising. They still continue. The loan is still accumulating. So the best thing is you can restructure your loans.
Okay.
You can renegotiate, but keep up with the payments.
Okay.
So that you don't sink even deeper.
Further.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen situations of where debt even messed up with the mental health of so many people. And that is a very dire situation to get yourself in.
I agree.
Yeah.
Debt is actually very, very stressing. If we are able to handle it with caution, it is a great stress reliever.
Right.
Yep.
Now, last week, I was having a conversation with one Ojwang Mariam, who's a colleague here, and he was asking whether he needs to get an education insurance for his kid. And the question is, how important are insurance policies or insurance during these times of the high cost of living?
During such unprecedented times, it is time to make sure that you are covered. Either your children's education is covered, you have a medical insurance, your car is covered. Because at such a time when the resources are limited, if something goes wrong, you are likely to get into a disaster financially when you're not covered. Even if a tragedy occurred, you don't have a way of meeting it. That's why it is very, very important to keep up with your insurance policies to caution you from sinking further. I got one client who was telling me they had taken an education plan for their child, and it is maturing at this time. So you can be sure that person is smiling all the way to school because they don't have to worry about school fees. Now they can relax and worry about the cost of living, just surviving, because school fees is taken care of.
Okay.
So really insurance policies are very, very important,
And they come
especially at a time like this.
Coming in very timely. Insurance policies. So what to invest and cover themselves health-wise, education, and so many other aspects. In case you get sick right about now, you're worrying about fuel, you're worrying about wheat, and suddenly you're also sick. You need to have that aspect at least taken care of by your premiums. Previously on this show, me and you have spoken about budgeting. And that's also a very interesting bit when it comes to situations where people cannot afford most of the things around them. I know you've mentioned that extreme spending or spontaneous spending, and you said it's important that someone has a shopping list or they shop smart. Budgeting. Should they also budget the rest of wanasema saizi pesa ni kidogo hata hakuna ya kubudget. To budget nini jamii?
Well, approaching it from the pesa ni kidogo point of view puts somebody in a deeper mess than we are already in. That little money that is not enough. And having a budget is what cushions you from the effects of inflation. Because now you are able to tell the amount of, or the shopping that, for example, 1,000 shillings could do, now it is doing less. Yeah, you know, the take home is much less. That's why a budget is important. It will help you cope. It will help you rise above the situation. So this is a time to practice your budgeting, especially what we say, the 50-30-20 rule still applies, irrespective of the cost of living that is on the rise.
Right. For those who missed out the 50-30-20 rule, maybe we can briefly touch on it.
Thank you. 50-30-20 rule. It is called the Pareto principle. It's a budgeting rule that says 50% of your income should go to your needs. You know, those things that you cannot do without, be it housing, be it food, be it clothing. You should be able to fit it within the 50%. If you find that, for example, your rent is above 50%, just know that you are living beyond your means. Your 30% should go to your wants. You know, those things that you can do without, but they are necessary, like gym membership, like your phone, you know, like eating out, should only fit, like entertainment should go fit within the 30%. And the 20% should go to savings or debt repayment. If you just operate with that 50-30-20 rule, you're able to survive these unprecedented times.
Right. Inside budgeting, we've mentioned saving. And I know saving is also a huge part on its own during the high cost of living.
Yeah.
Mtu anafaa pia kusave wakati ni kubaya, inflation nini. Should you save still at that time as you're paying your debts, pia budgeting? Is there room for saving?
Personal finance management and saving at that requires a lot of willpower. There's no one time that you feel now I am doing it expressly without having to sacrifice something, without an opportunity cost. So saving should continue. The amounts could go down, especially at a time like this. Or you could take different flexible plans at a time like this. But saving is something that should not stop.
Right.
If you're able to budget, you should be able to save. Yeah.
Right. You have a very interesting notebook that you also gave me,
Yeah.
and I'm really grateful for that. My personal money diary.
Yeah.
Track your money daily and eliminate money leakages.
Yeah.
So money leakages, mali pesa ina leak. Ufuko anasema naeka pesa natafuta change ya 1,000 ishaepotea, ishakuwa zero bob, ishafika 900 ishakuwa zero. Those are money leakages.
Yeah.
So how does someone also track their expenditure, and is it a good thing to, or is it one of those recommendations to track how you're spending your money through methods like this ones or otherwise?
Actually, the motivation to develop the personal financial planner was to help people track how they spend their money. Sometimes we spend all our lives receiving money with one hand, spending it with the other hand, and nobody knows what happens here in the middle. But if you're able to track your spending, if you're able to track your saving, if you're able to track your earnings, especially those people who are in business, the small and medium enterprises, sometimes it may be hard for you to track how much money comes into my life and how much goes out, and when it goes out, where does it go? So it is a very, very important resource, and it is a very important practice for us to master, to be able to track how do we spend our money. And that is the only thing that will help us cut back our spending, because you realize a big portion of your income goes to a certain spending based on your personality, based on your emotions that are around that spending. So being a conscious spender is very, very important, especially at a time like this.
Pesa inaenda wapi? I wanted people to buy that book, wajue pesa inaenda wapi. Let me put it up. How much is this?
Goes for 1,000 shillings, a copy. It helps you track your earnings, track your savings, track your spending every day for 52 weeks in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
And in here, I have had a look at this for quite some time. It gives you every week daily expenditure. Hata ile 5 bob natumia kubuy kiberiti. It has a space here where you can note it down. And then once after maybe a week or a few days, you check back and see how you can readjust and reprioritize things and how you're spending, right?
Definitely. Prioritizing. You said prioritizing, being able to cut your spending, being a surface spender, and even being able to readjust your investment portfolio. This is a time to do that.
Clearly.
To look what are you investing in. Yeah.
Now, let's get into pricing, kidogo. I know we are speaking about inflation, prices of products going up, nini. Is it also good to have a way that you're tracking the prices of different commodities? Ndo kwe aware. Sometimes you get in to a supermarket to pick 2 kg of sugar. Ilifika hapa sangapi. Is there a way to keep updated that you recommend?
It is very, very important, and especially the cooking oil menace has taught us that to keep tabs with what is happening. You'll be amazed to find one item costs double in a different price, So keeping tabs and having an idea what is happening, how are the prices moving, what is costing what is moving up, what is moving down. It is very, very important because it helps you to reprioritize your spending. Don't just buy something. Know the price. Compare different prices. How that one is product is costing.
Right.
Maybe the small things like the consumables for every day. You may not fully keep tabs, but there are those items that the prices are are normally very, very clear.
Right. And comparing, I think that's also a very important point to emphasize. Compare. Ujue kama umeshinda ukishop elsewhere and you're paying so much and you could get it elsewhere at a cheaper price.
Actually, when I'm teaching children, comparison shopping is a very major topic. And I think we should have it here someday.
Yeah.
Comparison shopping.
On its own. Yeah. Fully on its own. So make sure you're tuning in for that bit that is coming up sometime soon. So in these times of high cost of living, rarely do people think about investing, right? Hey, sina masaa ya kuinvest. Investing is for people who have money. Right now, I'm trying to budget and save and do a few things here and then keep up. Can investment also help survive the high cost of living?
What you've just said, it is usually, you've just placed a myth. It is a myth that people have, that investment requires a lot of time, investment requires a lot of money. It is not true. This is the time, especially at a time like this, it is the time to look into the small investment, start that journey. It is always a journey. This is time to start that journey and walk step by step. Look at where you can invest and move with it. This is a time to readjust your portfolio of your investment. This is a time to understand investment. And when we talk about portfolio, people should not see like it is something that is out there. It is something that you can just do at the back of your hand. Yeah.
On
and
the
you
phone.
keep moving with it, because in future that is what will cushion you or cushion your money from the effects of inflation. Yeah.
And you're saying that people should diversify how they are investing.
Their investments. At this time, the temptation to hold cash because of the anxiety that you're feeling, because of not knowing what will happen tomorrow. The temptation to hold your cash is real. To just keep your money in the bank, it is real. But this is the time to look into what it is that you can put your money into to counter the effects of inflation in future and even to grow it. Holding does not really help. You could get investment plans that are short term. Like you can get your money whenever you need it. There are those investment plans, like the money market, for example.
Right.
This is a time to explore.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, during these times of the high cost of living, are there things that, one, maybe someone should stop buying, maybe cut out completely, and are there things that someone can get for free? Maybe they've been paying for these things and they should consider the free option. I don't know what example I can give. Maybe Netflix. Wacha kuona Netflix and on a movie kwa neighbor. That's a very layman example, but
and better still, at this time, this is time to know who your neighbor. There are things that we can share. For example, the issue of carpooling. Yeah, if you are living in the same estate or you are in the same neighborhood, me and you, and we are driving to work daily, it does not hurt if you used one car. Yeah, you don't have to drive yours when I'm driving mine. We can always carpool.
Right.
Use one car, reduce that cost.
Reduce the cost of fuel, the cost of transportation, and also traffic on the road.
Very true.
Yeah.
This is the time also to start thinking, can you make some meals at home and carry your food to the office?
Right.
So that you avoid, you not be able to work when you are hungry, but you also avoid these trips to buy this, buy that, eat here, eat there, you know.
Which is also expensive.
Very, very expensive.
Right.
And when you carry your retro food from home or your drink, you be happier, you be less stressed, you be full, and the costs will go down. This is the time to consider those options.
Cutting out large purchases as well.
This is not the time, especially with this unprecedented time, to think that you can start maybe renovating your house, that bathroom. I mean, it can wait for the prices to stabilize. This is the time to reconsider your huge purchases and tone down until the situation stabilizes. Yeah.
The cost of living can go up, inflation can go up, lakini salary nayo imestagnate. Salary nayo imestagnate, haitaki keep up na inflation. What do I do? Should I switch jobs or do I find other sources of income? Yeah.
Actually, switching jobs, sometimes it's not an option, especially at a time like this. But this is a time to evaluate. How have you been performing, in your work? And this is a time that you can approach your manager, your boss, and actually ask for a pay rise.
Okay.
One thing I can tell you is that it will not be on nothing. You know, it must be based on your performance. There's no way your performance will be low.
Okay.
We are here asking for a pay rise.
My employer, I need that pay rise. I think I earned it.
It does not hurt.
It does not hurt
to ask for a pay rise, so that you're able to cope. And actually, we thank God that the effects of COVID are going down. We are getting back into business. Situations are looking up as much as there is this unprecedented times. So if you have been that performer, if you have got something to show for what you've been doing for your employer, it does not hurt to ask for a pay rise. Right.
Does not hurt to ask for a pay rise, and it does not also hurt to give a pay rise. So I hope my producer had that. Now, after asking for a pay rise, of course, as we have someone like you here, it's important, I think, also that people be looking for professionals, right? Listening to shows like this ones, looking for an expert to give them some guidance. Would you agree with that?
Of course I do. Yeah. We, the financial advisors, we are the most unutilized group of professionals. People, maybe they do not understand that financial advisors are there to work with you the journey of your finances. And sometimes because we grew up with zero information about money, we are so unempowered on how we make our decisions around money, or what to do. How do I invest? Where do I start? How can I budget? Where do I start? This is a time to look out for your financial advisor. We know the lawyers, we know the doctors, but financial advisors, this is a time to make use of them. Walk with them that journey. I've had people saying how they worked, and maybe they were working outside the country, the diaspora. They're sending money to their relatives, only to come and find that
nothing happened.
Nothing happened. The promises that they were given that their money is doing were not there. You know, it is very, very sad. That person could just have hired an expert, a financial advisor who work with them the journey professionally of their financial freedom. So this is the time to get closer to your financial advisor, an expert, to help you maneuver these times.
Right.
And even for staff, people can hire financial advisors to talk to their staff.
All right.
Yeah, on how to cope, how to manage, and they'll have a less stressed workforce,
right,
because they are more empowered.
And we are really privileged here to get free financial advice to our staff this morning at KUTV. I hope you're continuing that financial journey well. Now, here, one of those things that you can get from experts, of course, is financial resources or material that can help you towards that financial well-being. Now, I have here one of your books, and it's a personal money nudges workbook. Yeah, it's over 52 weeks of personalized money coaching. Let me put it here. Is it on the screen? Yes, it is on the screen. So, tell us the role of some of these resources, books, informations, websites, and videos such as the ones that you do.
Yeah. There's somebody, I hear it is Muswahili, who said, ukiona vyaelea basi ujue vimeudwa. I'm not very good in Kiswahili, but that is the truth. So for your journey of personal finances, you need information, especially this information that was missing as we were growing up, as we have always said. You need empowerment. You need to interrogate how is your relationship with your money. And these are the resources, the books. There's a lot of information out there if you know what it is that you want. If you are clear and you're able to sort it out, because it's of course it is a lot. So it is good to have a companion. Like that book you're talking about is a companion that you work with every day. Helps you with your savings, with your spending, with your budgeting. It has that information. This is another resource. In YouTube, you'll find videos that will help you cope. Learn how to maneuver, learn how to invest, learn different investment options. That information is there. If only you are looking for it, and you're able to filter through a lot of information that is even in the internet. So I would recommend the resources, the books, the videos, the information, and of course, like we have just said, the use of a financial expert.
How much is this book? Again, once more.
All my books go for 1,000 shillings. I've got that one is for adults, helps you to know how to save, invest, get out of debt, for example. It is a resource for personal finances.
And also, I'm seeing here it's also really interactive. It has spaces for people to fill out.
It is a workbook.
Right.
It's not a reading book. It is as much as there is reading, there is a guide. It is actually a guide. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I have left in those tips that we need for us to survive the high cost of living?
I think I would call it a parting shot, that being in control of your finances is a great stress reliever. Especially with COVID, we found ourselves very, very stressed around our finances. Yeah. So being in control, taking charge, taking a driver's seat. There's somebody who said that money is only a tool. It will take you wherever you want, but it will never replace you as a driver. So I pray that we become good drivers of our personal finances, and we'll be less stressed people.
All right.
Yeah.
How can people reach out to you so that they get more of this? This is the free version. Now for the premium subscription, for people to come back to you, social media, and reach out and know more.
Yeah, there is actually a lot of even free resources, premium resources, depending on your needs. And I am on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. YouTube, I'm Elizabeth, the Money Coach. Instagram, I'm Liz, the Money Coach. Our website is www.atikafrica.com. And I don't know if I can give my personal number just in case somebody would want to reach out.
For sure.
My number is 0727 143313.
All right.
You can reach out.
All right. Thank you very much. Something that I've taken away from this, which I didn't before, was this recognizing your emotions. I think personally, I've never recognized my emotions while I'm spending. I think I need to always interrogate myself, nikingevi shopping, what am I feeling before I go to do this shopping? Because sometimes I'm stress spending. That's how they call it, stress shopping.
Spending. Yeah, stress shopping.
And niko stress, so wacha niende shopping.
And there are many people who use shopping as a reliever for their stress. And they end up buying things that they do not need. You'd rather omit that day. Don't go for shopping that day if you're feeling in those emotions.
Right.
Just recognize.